Hi, my name is Shaldon Kopman, founder and creative director of brand Naked Ape. Who was I before I became a designer? Started out as a model, became a stylist, from styling into fashion editing, creative direction, show producing, and then eventually design for all my sins, I suppose, so yeah. Look, I've failed a few times, and failure is part of the journey. Failure is those hard knocks that you have never anticipated or did not ever think that you'll find yourself in those particular positions. But I think failure has made me a much better designer, a much better creative, and overall a much greater contributor to the ecosystem at large. Has success ever felt empty? I would say yes, definitely. A lot of the time success is sort of, when it comes to a collection, for example, you put so much energy and love into this, and sometimes collections could take you 2 years to develop, even though, the real meat of it is closer to the fashion week, which is probably a few months before. But you go through this entire period of this euphoria of wanting to do something so magnificent, and you do it and people celebrate it, and immediately after that you have this feeling of lowness, and it could last up to a few weeks for that matter. It's just this feeling of depletion, and I found myself in that space every single time I've created a collection. So ultimately I'd like to be remembered as a contributor, whether it be major or small, into this space of arts, into this industry of fashion, continentally and globally, and my contribution to how others are able to learn or to understand, whether it be the difficulties or the joys of this particular industry that we're in. When all validation disappears, what keeps me creative is the fact that I'm not there seeking validation. Sometimes, you find yourself not on trend with what everybody else likes, but you find yourself doing what you love doing, and it could be a simple concept that could take a few years for somebody else to understand. It's happened a few times, and you tend to beat yourself up about it, but you do have to realize that you're in the space of the arts, and sometimes you could be dead and buried before people actually understand what it is that you did then. And then will you only be celebrated, so yeah. Johannesburg City is what I find a lot of inspiration from. I draw a lot of inspiration from all corners of the city, as well as other African cities. Being in this fashion space, I've had an opportunity to actually showcase in different parts of the continent, as well as other parts of the world, but I love what goes on in the sort of metropolises of African cities at large, and also this burst of beautiful cultures that come from all different areas that you find in one city, and I think that's where I find a lot of inspiration. If this was my last collection, I would like people just to understand the sort of artisanal skills that I bring into the space of design, the simplicity of the silhouettes, the practicality of the garments, the function of the garments, the story, the narrative behind it all, and how it all ties together. And that doesn't have to be outlandish in any way whatsoever. Just, it's a piece of my soul that I'm sharing with everybody.